Today is an awesome day, and I know it has been quite some time since I have gone live on Facebook. Today, I want to introduce you to one of our signature projects, and that project we're going to call it the Business Value Proposition 101. But just before I get into what is the Business Value Proposition 101, do permit me to draw your attention to another signature project. On your screen, you will be seeing Pitch Deck 101. With that being said, I want to encourage each and every one of you to visit pitchdeck101.org. That's a signature project that we have started, and we meaning Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branded and Marketing LLC out of New York. Now, we have started Pitch Deck 101 for a number of reasons. One of them is that we're seeing many businesses are struggling to access capital. And even when you access capital, you will struggle to exit the debt portfolio. So, Pitch Deck 101 is the middleman. One, we work with clients in North America and other parts of the world to really help you to understand how to build your pitch deck. And in building your pitch deck, we are now able to put you in front of multiple investors, meaning we are able to put you in front of investors that are dealing with debt, equity, and credit. In fact, we represent one of the largest credit institutions in the US. Today, they have helped close to 50,000 entrepreneurs access business credit. We are also interfacing with investors out of the UK that are also able to bring significant amount of investment capital to businesses. But I'll talk more about this as time progresses. Now, as I'm saying, as an entrepreneur, it's not only for you to focus on how to access capital, but it's also important for you to focus on how to exit the debt portfolio. And even more so is how to ensure that once you take that capital, you're able to convert the debt into positive income streams. So today we want to spend some time talking about things that you need to focus on when you want to up level the business cash flow. And one of those subjects that we're going to look at today is the business value proposition 101. Now, the business value proposition 101 is taken directly from my last book titled 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint. Now, this is a signature project because we have researched global markets, all right, international markets for the last 20 years. And coming out of that research, we have compiled a number of theses with the primary objective of providing businesses across the world with the kind of information that they need to make better business decisions. Today, we are working with businesses out of Jamaica. We are working with businesses out of the UK. We work with businesses out of Canada, out of Ghana, and other parts of the world. What we also do is that as an entrepreneur, if you want to have a presence in the United States of America, we also help you to realize that present, meaning that as a US citizen, we work with you to ensure that you have your EIN, and your EIN is absolutely necessary. And your EIN is different from your SSN in terms of business. As a foreign national, it's necessary that you take the time to also understand what is the ITN. We work with the client to ensure that you have your ITN. And the ITN is what we call the individual taxpayer's number. You need this, particularly in terms of building what we call business credit. And business credit is different from personal credit. Over a period of time, I will go into all of this so as to ensure that you have the right information so as to make a better business decision. Now, along with this, we work with the client to help the client to build the relationships with D&B, build the relationship with Equifax, build the relationship with Experian. You need to be visible in all of these platforms in order to leverage and business credit in the practical way. These are things that we will get deep into those things as time progresses, so as to help businesses to understand how you can transition and expand your market share into a US based operation. Enough about that. In starting a business, it's absolutely necessary to start that operation on the solid foundation. And by this, what I mean, in my last book, I talk about the business value proposition. Now, your business value proposition should have four important touch points. Now, today I'm only going to go briefly at this, but from the research that we're doing, any business that understand how to build your business to have these four strategic points of impact, you are likely to be more successful. And of course, this is just the foundation. On our platform, we will talk to you about the four strategic points of impact, but we'll go further than this just to ensure that you understand the entire business ecosystem that you want to learn, apply, and master when you want to be successful in business and when you want to cash flow maximize. So let's begin this process. What exactly do we mean by the concept, the business value proposition 101? Now, business value proposition 101 is simply says to you that you should be building out your value proposition to add value and to fix problems. Traditionally, as an entrepreneur, when you are thinking about adding value and fixing problems, you are thinking about how you're building your business value proposition to add value to the final consumer. And in many cases, that seems to be the beginning and the end. We don't begin here. While that is absolutely necessary and important, we work with you to help you to understand the importance of building out your BVP to impact the workforce. Now, why is this necessary? That your BVP should be built out to have larger than life impact on the workforce. And I'm going to go through some of them. A demotivated workforce can lead to absenteeism, can lead to staff turnover, and it can lead to a loss of income for your business. Now, all of these things, you want to think about these things long before it happens because your business will not be given a fair chance to scale if your workforce are demotivated. So the question you want to ask yourself is how is the business value proposition being built out to impact the workforce so as to ensure that you have highly motivated workforce, to ensure that you have a team that is driven to increase productivity, to ensure that your BVP is reducing absenteeism and it's reducing staff turnover. And the book itself really walk you through a step-by-step approach as to how some of these techniques can apply. These are techniques that we're also seeing that the top 100 companies, they're applying some of these techniques, all right? And that is precisely why many of these companies in the international world, they're able to generate between 6 billion and 220 billion USD annually because they are proactive. They're thinking ahead, they're seeing beyond problems, and they're taking informed action to achieve the business desired results that they want. I assure you that my book and what we are doing at pitchdeck101.org, this is all designed to give your business a major competitive advantage. I'm just going to go through today some of the important touch points. So we talked about how to impact the workforce. Now let's talk about a little bit about how to impact the target market. Now in starting a business, you really want to zero in, you really want to get skin in the game to figure out very early how your BVP, your business value proposition, is going to impact your target market. But impacting the target market is not automatic. It means that you have to take some time to get enough skin in the game. And what exactly do I mean by getting enough skin in the game? This means that you're taking the time to do the research. And in our project, we talk a lot about the importance of market research. What we are seeing very often, the average person, starting a business, you tend to run away from primary market research. So you get involved in what we call speculative analysis. Speculative analysis is simply you sitting, in your office, you're sitting wherever you're at, and you're making a business decision based on speculation. That can come back to bite you. That can hurt you. That can frustrate the entire business process. So one of the first things that you also need to do is to get the guesswork, to get the speculation out of that business process. So you're going to throw away what we call the speculative analysis. The next concept that we want us to talk about here is what we call secondary research. Now, secondary research has its advantages and disadvantages from the perspective that if you're doing secondary research and secondary research is outdated, the outdated information could be misleading. And misleading information can cause you time, money, and definitely raise your stress level. And in business, you want to ensure that you're doing everything practically possible to remove yourself from stress and hypertension, losing money, having sleepless nights. So, the type of research that I want to talk about when it comes to getting skin in the game is what I'm going to call primary market research. Now, one of the reasons that most people shy away from primary market research is largely because of the high cost associated with primary market analysis. It's very cost intensive. You may have to hire a team, then you may have to hire subject matter experts to analyze that data. And then you now have to put another team of persons together to leverage that data. But let me say this. I would always say this. This type of research, the primary market research, justify the end results that you're going to get. And I'm going to give you a number of reasons why. Because when you do market research, what this means is that you have a clearer understanding as to who is or are your target market. You have a much clearer understanding as to what are their needs and their wants and their expectations. You have a much better understanding as to what they are willing to pay for. You have a much clearer idea in terms of your target market. And it is the ability to leverage this kind of information into the business decision making process that allows you to make better business decisions. It is by doing the market research you're able to identify the size of your market. You're able to identify if it makes sense in the first place to get in to business. But if you don't have the intelligence, but you're leveraging speculative data and you're leveraging outdated secondary data, there is where you can end up hurting yourself tremendously. And in business, again, you want to take the guesswork out of the business decision making process. So, the Pitch Deck 101 signature project that we have launched, we are going to be giving a number of free master classes to clients across the world. Because today we are working with businesses out of Jamaica, we're working with businesses out of the United States, we're working with businesses out of the UK, we're working with businesses out of Ghana, we're working with businesses in some parts of the Middle East. We have expanded our reach and how our program is designed to provide impact. Along with this, I want to repeat, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to expand your business, your base into the US, we can help you set up your business in the US. So let's get back to the subject matter. Understanding the four important touch points of your business value proposition is necessary. You want to know and clearly definitively how to impact your target market. But you can't impact your target market if you don't know your target market. So you want to do that research so you get that close relationship with your client. You get to understand their needs, their wants, and their expectations. You get to build out your business value proposition based on a clear understanding of what are their needs, what are their wants, and what are their expectations. You don't put the cart before the hearse. All right. You need to take the time to understand your target market and then you build a business value proposition. Now, let's go one step forward. Today, we're just skating through it. We're just going through to give you a brief overview of what is to come. And when you come and be a part of our masterclass programs, what you will be benefiting from. So, we're talking today about the four important points of impact under the heading the Business Value Proposition 101. When you build your business value proposition, how many touch points are you building your business value proposition to have? This is a serious question that I want you to ask yourself. Any modern business, your key focus is not only on how to impact the target market. Why? Because you may want to cash flow maximize. The cash flow maximization of your business and to cash flow maximize in a sustainable manner. It means that you're taking all cylinder, you're looking at all statistics that are necessary to ensure that you can cash flow maximize. So the first point of impact, you want to ensure that you have a strategic blueprint showing you how to impact the workforce. The third thing that I want to look at, the third impact focus that I want you to look at today is how you're going to impact the general public. And yes, traditional marketing and management may not tell you about impact to the public, but we have done the research. We understand the facts. Market realities are changing and shifting, and your business dynamics, you have to change with those trends. So, one of the focus points must be on how you're building your brand, your business value proposition to impact the public. Now, we can see the public from two standpoints. One, they can be your consumer. And why do you want to impact them? They can be non consumers too. All right. You want to ensure that you're taking the time to build your value proposition to impact persons that can refer others to you. There are people in the public domain that may never use your product, but guess what? They know, like, and trust your product. And because they know, like, and trust, they're going to refer others to use your brand. And that's going to help in the cash flow maximization process of your business. So if you don't have a blueprint and a game plan to impact the public, and that can come from many different ways. We go into all of this with you so you have a clear mental picture of what we're talking about here. To be able to learn, apply, and master these systems is going to take your operation to a whole nother level. But let me up the game here in terms of why you want to impact the public. There's something that we call influencers and celebrity branding. It's big in the developed world. Many of you across the world, you understand the Nike brand. The Nike brand was almost invisible before, Jordan came and endorsed that brand. And he took that brand success story from A to Z in a click of a finger. Why? Because he was a well-known personality and he leveraged his clout, his influence, his public know, like, and trust to move this brand forward. But I want you to take into consideration the right influencers for your business. They are not going to come and endorse your brand unless your impact strategy for your workforce is clearly developed, unless your impact strategy with your target market is fully developed, and unless you know these things are done, you're not going to get the right influencers to come on board with you. So these are some of the technical things that we go into. Now, if you're in business and you're not thinking branding and marketing, you're not thinking these strategic tools that you can leverage to move that business operation to the next level, it's a missed opportunity. Now, I want to get into another critical area here. And I'd asked you early on to ask yourself, what are the focus points of your BVP impact strategy, which we call the business value proposition impact strategy? How many areas are you really focusing on when you're building your business value proposition to achieve impact? The last concept that I want to talk about today, very briefly, is how are you building your business value proposition to impact the business cash flow? And this is an important focus point. Why am I saying this? Traditionally, we are seeing that businesses, you start a business, and the key focus is to drive the primary cash flow potential of that business. While driving the primary cash flow of that business is good, kudos for doing that. What happens after you start to cash flow? What happens with the excess liquidity? You see, modern businesses, you have to bring a whole different perspective to how you're managing your operation. And you need to do this for multiple of reasons. Now, one, you don't have excess liquidity sitting dormant when there are multiple cash flowing strategies that can be looked at to ensure that you are significantly enhancing the profitability of the operation. And you need to do this for several reasons. I'm going to give you perhaps two of them. The world today is now coming out of a global scenario that has devastated hundreds of thousands, millions of businesses across the world. And along with this, it has touched and transformed the lives of millions of people across the world in a similar way, in a negative way. Modern businesses leaders, you have to start focusing on things, concept that we're now calling the corporate cash flow protection. What if your excess liquidity can be placed into smart performing assets? And those performing assets are able to safeguard the business potential to cash flow in times of natural or man-made disasters. What if? You see, one of the things that I want to emphasize is that in business, you want to ensure that you're proactive. And in our context, we keep saying that proactive leaders, there are three things that makes proactive leaders standard, and you want to apply this to the business context. Proactive leaders, they think ahead. They see beyond problems. They take informed action to achieve desired results. As a business leader, the last thing that you want to do is to be reactive. You want to think ahead. All right. It is called developing the business plan, developing the game plan. And as you build out your VP, you want to think ahead of all of these things. You want to ensure that you have your strategic, tactical, and operational team that are well acclimatized to the process of thinking ahead. You don't wait for a crisis to come and now you start to think about it. Come on, you had years to go through the experience. You're going to wait for it to happen again, and then you're going to start thinking about it now. We should learn from our experiences. We at Global Capital Inc. and 10X B&M LLC out of New York, we have started this project, the pitchdeck101.org. Why? Because we really want to give business leaders across the world the opportunity to really understand our systems that really allows them to think ahead, to see beyond problems, and to take informed action to achieve desired results. You don't want to wait until your business is in a crisis and then you start to worry about what is the exit strategy? What is the practical solutions? You want to think ahead of these scenarios. And there's where pitchdeck101.org comes in. And we have developed, and this is a signature project built out by Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branded and Marketing LLC out of New York. And the key focus here is to really provide businesses with a kind of information that will help them to make better business decisions. So today, I just want to give a brief insight into what these programs are all about. All right. Now, as I said again, our focus has been expanded. And today we are talking a whole lot about capital markets. As an entrepreneur, you want to know how to build your brand to be fundable. There are many persons who are in business, but they're just focusing on how to access capital. The next question you want to ask yourself is your business fundable? For your business to be fundable, example, there's a number of things that you need to understand. What are the pre-qualifications to access debt, equity, or credit? You want to also bring to that table smart capital, because there are many businesses, you know, in preparing yourself to be fundable, perhaps you can start with smart capital access, and we'll be happy to educate you in this process. So when it comes to understanding and leveraging financial instruments, you need to take the time to really understand the financial portfolios, to understand how to access the financial portfolios, to understand how to leverage those financial portfolios, and to understand how to mitigate the financial process. And in the mitigation process, it may allow you to save hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on the debt portfolio, depending on which currency we're looking at and which part of the world you are in. So today, I just want to be brief to introduce you to pitchdeck101.org. I want to encourage, I want you to also go to our contact page, and you can now start to get exposed to some free mastermind programs where we're going to go deeper into branding and marketing, where we're going to go deep into things like capital market, and we're going to go deep into real estate investment. Real estate investment is very, very close to my heart. And that's a subject matter that we're going to be talking a lot about as time progresses. And I just want to give a brief before I pull this curtain down today. Real estate investment is perhaps one of the fastest ways to build wealth when you know what you're doing. And I say again, when you know what you're doing. This is not investment advice, because you want to really take the time to ensure that you understand real estate portfolios as a performing asset. And I say this against the backdrop, you just don't go and buy real estate. There's a number of moving parts that you need to think about. For example, what is the appraisal process? You need to take the time to understand what is the appraisal process. Because failing to understand the importance of the appraisal, it can, you know, undermine that entire investment that you have made. You see, it is with the appraisal that you're able to make informed and educated decision about the portfolio that you're getting into. There are many other moving parts. And who is doing the title search? Now, the thing about it, and I keep talking about this a whole lot, you may see a property advertising for low cost, and you're attracted because the price is low. But several things you didn't do. You didn't do the appraisal so as to identify if there's structural, do none of this. And worse yet, you didn't do the analysis to see if there's any tax lien on the estate. Now, the tax lien can be more than the value of the estate, but you didn't notice and you invest in it. What happens there? You lose your entire investment portfolio. So today is just really to whet your appetite over a period of time. We're going to go deeper into these subject matter, really helping you to understand how to make solid, strong business decisions. All right. Now, for those who might be joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession, and I must say it gives me tremendous pleasure to be with you today. Now, I want to encourage you to like and share this podcast if it makes a lot of sense to you. And if you believe you want to be a part of what we do, and I want to encourage you to join our community so you can benefit. So what I will do now, I will just quickly recap some of what we talk about. Today we talk about pitchdeck101.org. If you want to know more about this, I encourage you to go to our website, pitchdeck101.org, to learn more about what we are doing. This platform is really to help businesses to make better business decisions. Businesses rise and businesses fall based on the ecosystem that you have built out. One of the very first things that you want to think about and focus on as an entrepreneur is your value proposition. And this could be dovetailed into what is your corporate culture. You rise and fall on culture. All right, you rise and fall on culture. So we look at this a little bit. We look at the four important touch points that you need to focus on in starting that business, in growing that business, and scaling that business. And that's only the beginning. As time progresses, we're going to talk about visibility, reach, and impact. We're going to talk about conversion. We're going to talk about confidence, trust, and credibility. And all of this is absolutely necessary to move your business, your brand to the next level of development. So if you want to cash flow like a pro, this is the platform for you. So I want to encourage you to follow us, share this program, and connect with us from pitchdeck101.org. Go to contact, send us the word mastermind, and you can sign up. All right, you can get a free program in marketing and branding, or go to our website. All right, with that being said, I want to thank you all for listening to today's broadcast, and I look forward to doing this more frequently with you. So be blessed and have a great rest of the morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Goodbye.